Good afternoon, YouTube family. We are here at Alexander Park in Gwinnett County, and today I will be talking to a longtime friend of mine, a guy I used to work with for about 25 years, a great guy by the name of Brian Roopull. Now, this guy has very different opinions on things that I talk about on this YouTube channel, so I'm looking forward to sitting down with him and having an interview. So without further ado, let's jump off into it. I am here with Brian Roopull, a really good friend of mine. We're going to be talking and discussing the current state of America as we are in today, knowing that 6 months ago America didn't look like it looks now. And this guy right here, been knowing him for years. Always been a great friend. We don't agree with everything, but that's why we're sitting down and we're having this interview today. Thanks for being with me, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
All right. First of all, are you Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative?
So I started my first voting cycle. I was wholeheartedly Democrat because they believed in some key issues that I believed in, right? Things that were important to me. So I voted almost straight ticket Democrat first go round. And then I figured out they weren't actually about fixing any of those things. They were about keeping them around so I would vote for them the next go round. And found that offensive. So then I kind of walked away from the Democrats, started looking to say, well, if government's not going to be here to fix anything, well, let's at least make government as cheap as possible. So financially conservative. Next go round I voted for Republicans and Democrats, but Johnny Isaacson.
Right.
God bless Johnny Isaacson. I voted for Johnny Isaacson and he was going to slash spending. Then that man went in government and he voted for every spending and appropriations bill he could get his hands on, with the exception of anything that said abortion. I said, this man's not fiscally conservative at all.
Right.
So I walked away from the Republican Party. So now I lean libertarian. For a while I was a card-carrying member of the Libertarian Party, which basically means, for the most part, I don't think anything should be illegal that doesn't affect anybody else, right? As long as it's not force or fraud, as long as it ain't trying to hurt you or take from you.
Right.
I don't think it should be illegal. Doesn't mean I think it's right.
Right.
Don't mean I agree with it. I don't think it should be illegal. So that's pretty much where I am. And the Democrats and Republicans, neither one of them even remotely come close to thinking that.
Right. Right.
You know, they both say they do sometimes, but yeah.
That's interesting. So what does America look like to you today? I mean, as I said, it's changing every single day.
Changing every day.
What does it look like?
You know, it depends on what part of America you're talking about. I see for the culture wars, which I think is what you're aiming for. I think we're on the edge of a very slippery slope.
Okay.
Of sliding towards neo-Marxism. And it puts itself out there as being the face of the LGBTQ stuff, puts itself out there as being pro-civil rights, puts itself out there as being all sorts of things, environmentalism, all these progressive leftist movements, but it doesn't actually care about any of those things.
Right.
That's the method to get what they want.
Okay.
We throw terms out there like neo-Marxism.
Explain that right quick.
Yeah. So that's something somebody says, oh, neo-Marxism, he's this, he's that. Neo-conservative, he's this, he's that.
Right.
Marxists originally, like as in Karl Marx, the guy who came up with the philosophy, historically felt like all power struggles throughout all time were between the haves and the have-nots, the bourgeois and the proletariats, the landowners and the serfs. And to a large part, he was right. So he felt like it was all a struggle between the oppressors and the oppressed. And for him, it was very easy to identify who those were. And he says in his manifesto, we're going to overthrow this through force. Neo-Marxism takes those thoughts and applies the oppressor and oppressed mentality to almost everyone. Almost everyone. So if you're homosexual, you're oppressed. If you're Native American, you're oppressed. Okay. If you're transgender, you're oppressed. If you're black, you're obviously oppressed.
Right.
And the oppressor is whoever happens to be on the other side. And so the goal is the same. It's a communist, socialist, Marxist society.
Right.
But the steps to get there go through every minority they can come up with.
I got you. What about the Black Lives Matter movement? What do you think about that?
I think there's a lot of confusion. Because there's the movement And there's the organization.
Right.
So like nobody in the right mind thinks Black lives don't matter, other than like lunatics, you know, Klansmen and fringe people. No one thinks Black lives don't matter that I can think of. And I've lived in the South my whole life.
Right.
I've met so few outright, I hate Black people, racists. I mean, they're rare.
Right.
So the movement's one thing. The organization is another. And the organization, I think, is actually opposed to the actual heart of the movement.
Why do you say that?
Because, so the heart of the movement is, as I understand it, we Black people are not treated as whole people, right? Especially in the hands of the police. Right? Whether or not you agree with that or what, that is what I feel the heart of it. And that, I feel that. Because if you've ever been, I mean, as a white guy in the South, as a teenager, one of my best friends was a Black kid, and we would get pulled over routinely, and we finally, the officer let us know the whole reason was because white kids and Black kids aren't supposed to ride in the car together. I feel it. And a lot of people have never been around enough Black people to understand that that is a thing.
Yes.
Right? And God bless them. I mean, there's places in America where there are no Black people. God bless those folks. I don't live in that world. The Black Lives Matter organization, the three ladies that founded it, at least two of them outright say they're Marxists. Trained Marxists. Protesters, agitators, organizers. And I think it was, I think it's George Orwell, I could be wrong, who wrote in the 50s that the Marxists claim to want to represent and be the heroes of the poor people, of the oppressed. He said, in my dealings with them, I see no evidence of a love for the poor people, but what he did see was a hatred for the wealthy. And that's how he felt like the true Marxist motivation was. And the Black Lives Matter organization, that's what I see. I see hatred for white people. I see hatred for police. I see hatred for the government. I see hatred for America. I don't see much love at all for Black people. That's why when you see these organizers with it, and I'm talking about the movement, I'm talking about the organization itself, they never show up for the things that are actually affecting Black America unless it's one of these oppressors doing it. And there's a lot that affect Black America that ain't got nothing to do with oppressors.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I'm not denying the oppressors out there. Anyway.
So one of the things that, if you look on their website, they're very big on defunding the police. So what do you think about that? I mean, what would America look like, even with taking a pay cut for a police officer? Let's say we kept them, but we gave them a pay cut, or we made them do the same job for less money. What would America look like? I think that's a fantastic, perfect idea if your goal is to destroy the lives of everybody living in an urban environment. Because out in the country, out in the rural country, you might go a year without seeing a police officer. I mean, I know, I lived there when I was a kid. I mean, we lived in the mountains. You didn't see cops. And when you did, you pointed. Like, hey, look, a cop. It's like, hey, look, a limousine, you know? In the city, they're everywhere. So let's take what happened to George Floyd. Why did that happen? Why did that cop do that? Now, we can say it's because he's racist. Which I don't doubt that he was. And if he's not racist, he's crazy. But how do you get that guy doing that on that police force? He's moonlighting. We know that for one, right? He's moonlighting. So he's not getting paid enough already to support his family. Whether he's a Klansman or not, dude ain't making enough money to support his family. I had a stepdad who became a police officer. You know what his qualifications were? What's that?
He had a discharge from the military that wasn't dishonorable. He has no training, but he's a cop. What's a soldier trained to do? Kill people. I think if you defund the police, you're going to get more people like Chauvin. You're going to get more people with no training, no understanding, and they're going to kill more people.
Well, are they talking about even replacing the police? Because from what I'm saying, they want to defund the police, and they want to take that money and put it in organizations in the Black community that will do the police work. So I don't even know if they're really trying to replace the police.
Or supplement them?
Yes.
So that'd be actually spending more money on policing.
Right.
On the actual job that police now do.
And not getting the job done.
So maybe we should specialize more on what police do.
Right.
And tell me those organizations aren't already in black communities.
Yes.
I mean, like one of the problems that wealthy cities in Atlanta have been coming across lately is they're seceding. They want their own states or their own cities, right?
Right.
Sandy Springs. They wanted that one in North Fulton, Sharon Springs. They tried to do that one in South Forsyth.
Right.
Because they're angry that their tax dollars are being spent somewhere else. You know. And when you look at where the tax dollars are spent, they're collected in wealthy areas and spent in poor areas. These services are already there by government, and government sucks at it. And you're going to tell me you want more of that? You're already spending tons of money in these neighborhoods, and it's not working. Why is it not working? Because those people in government, their motivations at the top are not to take care of you and me.
Right.
It's power.
Right.
They want power.
Right.
I think the better idea than defunding the police is actually spend more money on them.
Yeah.
So you train them better. So I can never remember his full name. Young black kid, Elijah something. I forget his last name. McLean.
Yeah.
So you know the case?
Yes.
Young black kid. Well, I say kid. He's like in early 20s.
Yes.
Frail, meek, not a big dude at all.
Right.
But in August, he's walking down the street with a hoodie on, or a ski mask on. I don't care what color you are. That's weird, dude.
Right.
So the cops show up because someone calls the cops on him.
Right.
The cops get out and confront him. And almost immediately, the kid's backing up and he's visibly scared.
Right.
And he says, I am introverted. I'm very introverted. Please, I think he even says, don't touch me. Before the cops are even like trying to arrest him, he's freaking out.
Yeah.
Within hours, kid's dead, right?
Yes.
So if the cop is properly trained to recognize emotional, psychological issues, he's going to realize there's something going on with that kid.
Right.
Whoa, I don't need to touch him. Because if he's autistic and you touch him, you freak him out.
Right.
The cops don't have any clue.
Then it's going to look like he's something that he's not, aggressive.
Right,
violent,
exactly.
He could be harmful and stuff like that.
And if you're autistic and I put my hands on you, you're going to freak out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill you over it because I'm a soldier.
I like that. Give them better training by investing more money.
Yeah, you give them better training. You give them better. Okay, so the UPS driver, they carjacked the UPS driver.
Right.
And they filled if you look at that truck, there's bullet holes in the back of that truck. Why does any man issued a handgun not miss his target by 15, 20 feet?
Right.
Why is he not trained better even on that level?
Right.
So I think they need to be trained better. They need to have wider training. They need to be paid better.
Right.
Maybe moonlighting is outlawed. I don't want no sleepy cop.
Right.
Wielding a gun.
That's a good point.
And then, but the flip side of that is, to become a cop needs to be a lot harder.
To get your foot in the door in the first place.
You got to be, we need background checks. You need to pass better training. You need to be able to put that bullet where you point the gun.
Right.
If you can't run a 100-yard dash without passing out, you don't need to be a cop.
Yes, I agree.
But raise the pay, you raise the standards, you raise the training. You defund all that. You defund the police. You're going to have lower morale, and probably lower morality.
Right.
You're gonna have lower morale, you're gonna have worse cops, and you're gonna have more of the same problem. And that's what I think the neo-Marxists want.
Okay. All right. I totally agree with that. Just about everything you said right there, I agree with it. Okay. So let's get down to this last question. Well, police brutality, real quick. I mean, is it a myth or is it real? Is it to this degree and not that degree? Or is it just
I think it really depends.
All in our heads?
It depends. No, I don't think it's all in our heads. I think it really depends on where you are.
Right.
And I think it depends on the police officer. I think the real problem there isn't really even police brutality is the result. I think the problem is what we're talking about, defunding the police.
Right.
We need better cops.
Right.
Also, something that needs to change culturally in police departments is the blue brotherhood nonsense.
Okay.
You see me stomping on his neck and you don't call me out, you don't stop me.
Yeah, turn to death. Yeah.
That needs to change. And that's why police brutality is what it is.
Okay, last question here. What could our current president do to make America great for every American?
First thing that dude needs to do is shut up. Man, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Because he does some really good things for all Americans, and then he says something that's like contrary to what he just did.
Right.
So, I mean,
overshadow.
He may be.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, he can keep
But if you tuck him off for Twitter and all that kind of stuff, and he never spoke a word, how would you rate him?
Oh man, pretty good.
Okay.
As a libertarian, pretty good. Not perfect, but as a libertarian, pretty good. Like deregulating.
Right.
Like if you want to talk about what can help, we're just talking about black people. What can help black people?
Right.
Really, all people.
Just all Americans.
Yeah.
Just
what can help anybody?
Make America great.
Especially poor people, people who are struggling. Make it so that I can open a business without jumping through 500 hoops. Why does it cost me thousands of dollars in government fees every year to run a small business?
Right.
That's what the president, and if states and cities would follow that lead, America would be real great.
Okay, now in the black community, what can he do? About 2 minutes or a minute. What can he do in the black community?
In the black community,
for the black people who don't see it like you do.
Exact same thing.
Small business, help them get business loans.
Exact same thing, because there's nothing that's going to help me that doesn't help you.
Right.
And the one thing that does affect black people that needs to stop is the pandering to black people, the things that have historically destroyed the black families.
Right.
That are government programs.
Right.
You know, like, hey, if you're not married to the daddy, you get more welfare.
Right.
Hey, Section 8, come live in a government house instead of owning your own home, so you have nothing for your kids to inherit.
Right.
If that stuff could somehow be stopped, but President Trump ain't got a chance with that, because they'll call him racist.
All right, man. I sure appreciate it. I know you got much more.
I can't stop.
I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you.
God bless you, brother.
You too.
And thanks for stopping by.
You too. Thank you.
Bruce L, J Staff, we OUT, out.